Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Friday, April 28th, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, logy, which means sluggish or groggy. Logy. Hope everyone is enjoying their Friday or will enjoy their Friday. End of the work week is here. Man, finally. Wow. Been a long work week. Just has. And, the sun isn't really shining here in North Carolina. We have some rain. And it is expected to, it came in yesterday and is expected to pretty much rain all day into the wee hours of the morning. Saturday, we're supposed to be dry and sunny with temps in the 80s. Then the rain returns Sunday. Springtime in the South. And as you know, with springtime in the South, here comes those severe weather alerts and thunderstorms and tornadoes. Man, Florida, they got hit once again. Heavy rains, winds, and it has certainly down in that part around Florida and other areas down there, they've been hit with tornadoes and flooding. Along the great, grand, old Mississippi River is flooding up and down from Mississippi all the way up to Ohio. Record. And they say they haven't seen flooding like this in decades, or possibility of flooding that is to come that has already started. Wow. So pray for folks down there around that area, the old Mississippi and Florida, because Florida got hammered with some tornadoes and it just left destruction everywhere. Tornadoes in Florida and Alabama. Well, it's springtime in the South. It just is. There's no two ways or any way around it. Just isn't. Hey, it's the South. It's springtime. All right, let's move along here. Let's talk about some sports. I've been up here in a while, and the NBA Finals. Wow. Pretty good games. I gotta admit, it's some pretty good games. You know, you got LA, you got the Lakers, you got the Golden State and the Clippers. Surprisingly, the Clippers, hey, they ain't looking too shabby. Yeah, I think Golden State's going to take it anyway. I just do. But perhaps the most surprising game for me, and the shocker, is Milwaukee Bucks are out of it. They got eliminated by the Miami Heat. Now, if you've been following all year long, Miami, or for several years, I should say, but especially all year long, Miami, it is that squad. But, man, to see them knock out Milwaukee along with Giannis, man, that was just surprising. Milwaukee, they were the number one seed. Miami was number 8. For all intents and purposes, Milwaukee should have just walked and waltzed all the way through it. Surprised a lot of people. Surprised me. So, one thing that came out, which kind of sheds light on many facets in our lives. After a post-game interview with the press, a reporter asked Giannis if the season was a failure, and he pretty much shot back. Well, I won't say he shot back, but the reasoning and explanation he gave, it should open our eyes to how we view success versus failure. He pretty much said, "Hey, you're not going to win every time. That doesn't make you a failure." And he even went as far, he kept saying he didn't want to make it personal, but I mean, he kind of made it personal. And maybe he had to make it personal because he asked the reporter, every year, do you get a promotion on your job? Every year you're working towards getting that promotion so you can provide for your family or some sense of feeling of self-worth pretty much. And, hey, you don't get a promotion every year. Just like, hey, I don't win a championship every year. Despite all the hard work that goes into it. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And that's true. I mean, he's not a slack player. He didn't slack off any time during the season or even in the finals, during the playoffs. He got injured. He was out for about 2 games. And hey, And Milwaukee just couldn't hold it together. They did win some games when he was out, but just couldn't pull it off. So it doesn't make him a failure. He started out, of course, hey, you asked me the same question last year, and now here you are back here again asking me this same question again. Is the season a failure, or am I a failure? I don't think he's a failure. I think you're a failure when you just flat out don't try. If you know anything about him and his style of playing basketball, he goes hard every game. He's if he's not the best, he's one of the best players in the NBA today, and the sky's the limit for him. So I don't think he's a failure. He just came up short. It doesn't come from lack of trying. That's life. You're not going to win every single time in life, and that's anyone. And anyone would tell you that. Hey, I know I've had my ups and downs, my successes and failures, and that really makes me wonder: the successes I had, were they really success, or as he would say, it's a process? It is a process. Everything in life is a process. It's steps to it. You have to take these steps in order to get to a certain point and stage in life. Are you going to have successful steps? No. You're going to have failures. I had a lot of failures. I'm sure a lot of you out there have had a lot of failures. But what's the true definition of failure? Like I said, I don't think you're failing if you're trying and it just ain't coming together. You just got to go at it again another way. I don't know how much harder he could have played. But hey, in the end, it just didn't work out. So it kind of shed light on how we view successes and failures in life. I think we have become a society where your success is valued at what you hold or what you have. The materialistic things, the cars, the house, the money, the clothes, the jewelry. As frugal as that sounds, and it is frugal. That's not really success, is it? I mean, you can have all the riches in the world, but if your life is torn to shreds, you have no relationship with your family, or you have no feeling of self-worth, that could be easily seen as a failure. Successful, yeah, with materialism, but in the long haul, you have a busted relationship with your family, or no relationship whatsoever with your family. You're not feeling too well. You have no feeling of self-worth. That might be conceived as a failure. Although on the outside looking in, you're a success. And it does. It sheds a whole lot of light on how we view success and failure. I think we may have it mixed up. And I included. Hey, over the years, I know personally I thought success was, if I have all my ducks in a row, there's no stress, there's no drama. Whatever I've set out to do, I've done it and accomplished, and hey, I'm successful. That's a process. That's just steps that I took to get to a certain point, and I still have to continue to move forward and persevere, because as we all know as adults, we're going to have good days and we're going to have bad days. Sometimes it may seem like we're having a bevy of bad days, and it does happen like that. It just does. So me personally, I don't think he's a failure. I don't think the season itself, because they didn't get far, they didn't advance, it may be a failure. But what's a failure, and how much of a failure is it? I think it's just one of those things. It happened, and they couldn't pull it off, so they got to go back to the drawing board and come back next year. Just did. Like I said, I think a lot of times in our society now, we're looking at success and failure in the wrong light. Winning and losing. What's winning and what's losing? Really, what is it? What I view as a win, you may not view as a win. And what I view as a loss, you may not view as a loss. It's all about your personal connection to yourself. Who cares what everyone else thinks or feels as it relates to your life? But man, that was a good game, good series, I thought. And moving along, also, man, oh wow. Well, the Lakers are making pretty good work of Memphis and Morant, but they struggled a little bit. It's a weakness. How far will LA go in this finals run? Time will tell. Time will tell. All right, let's go get it, man. Well, here in North Carolina, House lawmakers, they took a proactive step Wednesday, and it was to secure North Carolina farmlands from what they have termed hostile foreign governments ownership. So these countries from wherever around the world, they'll come in, buy up the farmland and land, and that has left many lawmakers in fear that there may be some other works underway that we haven't just thought of in this day and time. Now, this new bill, which by the way has bipartisan support, Democrat and Republican, it is to, like I said, stop these hostile foreign countries or governments for coming in and buying up farmland here in the United States or land that is near military bases. Because let's be honest, here in North Carolina, I don't know about not other parts of the country, but North Carolina has quite a few military bases that, hey, when things go awry in the world, these military bases and those that serve, whether it be Army, you got some Navy, you got some Air Force, you got some Marine, they're the first to be called. So there's a list that the state lawmakers here in North Carolina and just lawmakers throughout the United States have come up with of countries they don't want to anyone, whether it be regular citizens or businesses that own farmland that produce, your meat, your cows, your pigs, or whether it be vegetation. They don't want any of these farmers or businesses doing business with these hostile countries. Of course, there's China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. No surprise. Now, if you go back, I did a podcast some months ago, sometime last year, where there was a large parcel of land here in North Carolina around the Goldsboro area, and that coincidentally that's where an Air Force base is, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. That at one point in time, it was on the East Coast. It was considered one of the largest Air Force bases in the United States. It's supported and it's supplied wherever there was a conflict. The Air Force was there dropping off, whether it be cargo or weaponry or whatever, what have you. It was a pretty big base. It didn't survive the budget cuts or the military base cuts from years ago, but it's still active at a lower level. So this chunk of land that sits out, I believe it's around Goldsboro or in Wayne County somewhere, China, a business from China, had purchased the land. Now, President Trump came along, and as we all know, when he got in office or he was on the campaign trail, one of his biggest things was he was going to stop these foreign countries from coming in and doing business and getting all these great tax breaks and taking their money back to their own homeland and not investing truthfully in the United States. So President Trump put a block on it. So now that land is just sitting there, and China can't get in to do what they need to do to build that, whatever that factory was. So that raised a lot of eyebrows. I got to be honest with you, from a common man's standpoint, I remember when I heard about it, and when I heard about all these other foreign countries that were purchasing not only land. There's a side story also where a lot of foreign countries or a lot of foreign businesses are buying up real estate, homes. Not only land, but homes, and they're owning communities, and then they sell it or whatever, what have you. It kind of made me ask the question, why are foreign countries or foreign businesses trying to buy up all the real estate here in the United States? It just does. So President Trump, he came in and said, no, we're going to stop. No way, no how. Nah, stop it. So like I said, I did that podcast months ago, and that land is now just sitting there because of that ban or block that was placed by President Trump, and it may have opened a lot of lawmakers' eyes, not just here in not just here in North Carolina, but throughout the United States, because they have the same question too: why are these foreign entities, these businesses, these governments trying to purchase so much land and real estate in the United States? Is there an ulterior motive? Could be. I just can't understand or fathom the notion that China and Russia would want to buy real estate here in the United States. What are you guys looking for? Now, with the farmland, North Carolina, like I said, there's a lot of military bases around here in North Carolina, quite a few. And of course, there's farmland around there. Folks have been farming those lands for years. And you have all these foreign businesses or governments of foreign businesses that are coming in and buying it up. It does raise an eyebrow. Now, what the bill is really trying to say or hopes to specifically target is that they want to eliminate the threat or the possibility of hostile countries from not only buying up farmland, but buying land, once again, within 25 miles, more specifically, of one of North Carolina's many military bases. I believe that's that one down there in Goldsboro that I talked about near that near Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Now there was there's a lot of people, like I said, that are questioning the mindset or the actual factual happenings that foreign countries are buying up our land here in the United States. Now, in addition, this bill that is going to be passed, it seeks to ban land ownership of any individual or entity that owns or controls at least 50% by one of those foreign governments, or of which take direction from one of these hostile countries, even if the ownership is involvement is under the 50% threshold. So what that means, the long short of that is, not only if you're a foreign business and you come in and you want to buy land, they want to kind of keep an eye and flat out ban that, but where is your financing coming from? It's coming from banks within those hostile countries. So is it the business that really owns? No. The land? No. It's the bank. Just like how we do business here in the United States. You take out a mortgage or loan or whatever, you don't own it till you finish paying that land, that loan or that mortgage off. So if you're you're a foreign country of one of these hostile governments, and your funding is backed by these hostile governments and their banks, that is a red flag. Make no bones about it. The standing understanding is China holds a great debt, or U.S. owes a great debt to China. Borrowed a lot of money. So much so, the estimations, man, they're astronomical. So it would stand to reason, if you really and truly thought about it, that China, hey, you guys, you owe us all this money. Maybe we can come in and buy up some of your land. Sounds like a far stretch, but then again, it isn't. Now, when it says that these foreign businesses take direction from the government, just like I said, it's a banking thing. Same thing we do here in the United States. You don't own that land outright until you finish paying that bank the mortgage or you pay the loan off. So if it's been discovered that these foreign businesses, they have either more than 50% owed to the bank of that hostile foreign government, or under 50%, either way, whether it's a gain or a loss, they want to ban it outright. They say no. And they're strongly encourage these landowners also not to do business with these foreign governments and foreign businesses. Now, they said if the landowner by chance he or she happens to not know fully or outright, who they're really doing business with, and the U.S. discovers that it is one of those hostile foreign countries or foreign business that does that is backed by these hostile foreign countries. The landowner, of course, won't receive any fines or anything, and just to understand. But here's the kicker for me. And if you're saying to yourself, well, this hasn't happened here in the United States, yes, it has. It has already happened. We were just asleep. But I remember when all of this came about back in 2013. Because what happened was, we all know Smithfield Foods. Smithfield Foods, of course, that's your bacon, your pork chops, all your pork products. Smithfield Foods was purchased by a Hong Kong business. And if you're saying, well, it's Hong Kong, it's not no problem. They got a great problem with China, and they're our, somehow, some way, our ally. You might be right, kind of, sort of. But then again, you might want to look a little deeper, because what was discovered was that Hong Kong business, just like I told you before, the money was backed by a Chinese bank. So that spurred a lot of lawmakers to say, hold up, wait a minute, stop. That's a no. But it was too late. The deal was already done. The land was already purchased, owned by Hong Kong. The land was already purchased. The business was flat out sold to a company in Hong Kong. So this company in Hong Kong that has that financial backing of China, this is probably the reason why this bill is come to fruition. 10 years later, and their state lawmakers are looking around, and they're noticing a lot of businesses from foreign lands are coming in and buying up the real estate. They said, hold up, we don't want another Smithfield Foods on our hand. Now, they did admit, they said, hey, listen, it's not widespread. Although, admittedly, they really say it isn't about that much of the land. Foreign lands, foreign businesses really don't own that much of the real estate here in the United States or in North Carolina. But they do own a small portion of land. And in 2021, they said that the Chinese businesses own about 383,000 acres of land in the United States. Now, that's less than 1%, so they're saying, hey, it's not that much. But it is enough to get the ball rolling. Now, of that that 383,000 acres of land, they're saying that's about less than 1%. It's about the size of a county here in North Carolina named Harnett County. It's not that much. But it can be if enough foreign businesses decide to make that move. That 1% could shoot up to, God knows how much. And that's a huge problem. Or could be a huge problem. Just is. If you're saying to yourself, oh, that'll never happen. Hey, who would ever think, we all love our bacon and sausage. Who would ever think that it would be Smithfield Food with that ever since its inception was owned by it was owned by the United States business, for whatever reason. It just was. It was owned by a United States business, and all of a sudden they sold for whatever reason, whether it be hard time or Hong Kong made them an offer they couldn't refuse. They sold to Hong Kong, and now it's owned by a Hong Kong foreign business. That is backed by a Chinese bank. So you can't say that'll never happen, because this is not only going on here in the United States. This is going on throughout. Not only going on here in North Carolina, it's going on throughout the United States. They found that a lot of foreign businesses own land in California. They produce agriculture. The Dakotas, agriculture. There's a lot of farmland out there. That's just a few. So how many more businesses have sold their land and ownership to foreign countries? It certainly is a reason to be alarmed, but not too alarmed. But if you can get a bill or more states here in the United States, which is they're saying is coming, if they can put a ban on it, I say put a ban on it. I don't see any reason for those countries that, or hostile governments, as they say, that we view as hostile, should own land here in the United States. And more importantly, own land. There's military bases not far off. Catch my drift? They ain't buying up that land for the greater good, folks. There's a strategic plan here. If you look back throughout history, a lot of times when there's a war, a conflict, a strife, or after war and conflict or strife, not saying that it could happen here, but if you look back throughout history, when there's a lot of war and conflict and strife, a lot of those countries, either they were involved in the conflict or they just sat around and waited, and they came in and they bought up real estate and businesses, and they took over that country. They owned that country. China, Russia. That's just business for them. It's not just business for the individual business owner in that country, but it's business for the government. It's like I said, these banks, just like here in the United States, they're ultimately controlled and ran by the government. We saw what happened with these small banks earlier this year when they started to crumble a little bit, how quick and fast the government stepped in. The government didn't step in for the greater good of the people that, they had owned businesses. Because these banks were, of course, from small tech startups. They didn't jump in just to save these businesses and help the folks that were working. They stepped in because they realized this could destroy our economy. It could leave our government in shambles. And, hey, a lot of times, like I said, if you go back through history, when the government's in trouble, foreign entities come in and they start taking over, buying up land and real estate, giving money or loaning money and saying, hey, at whatever time you're going to have to pay it back. And when those small countries, when they couldn't pay it back, they were taken over. So this is greater than what you and I are fathoming about businesses doing business with foreign lands. Because here in North Carolina, North Carolina it does export a lot of our agriculture to China, even, and Russia, and import and export. It's back and forth. Just like with the start of this Russia and Ukrainian conflict, they were saying with the grain, that helped assisted in the process of sending the world market into a frenzy of sorts. Why? Because Russia came in and took over a lot of that that production of that grain. They're holding on to it. So they're controlling it. See where I'm going? It's greater than you and I could think. It ain't just about old Joe the farmer selling his land to some foreign business. And a lot of these foreign businesses, you got to ask. I'm not saying it, just with Smithfield, but that was purchased by a Hong Kong company that, once again, the financial backing came from a Chinese bank. So who ultimately controls and holds that land? Think about it. Chinese government. Ain't the Chinese banking system. It's the Chinese government. Who controls the banks? The government. Yeah. I'll keep you guys updated on that. We'll see where this goes. Will that bill it's already been approved or getting ready to be approved in the House here in North Carolina? Will it be approved in the Senate and become a bill? Yeah. Yeah, it will. I don't think it will have any problem getting through. Because hey, if you're thinking, whether you're a politician or a regular old person, it has to go through. Got to figure out why these foreign lands, foreign countries, or foreign governments are coming over trying to buy up real estate. Doesn't seem too far-fetched, especially if you look at North Carolina. And just like California and the Dakotas and those other states, there are military bases there, and there's farmland around that. Makes sense. Just does. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. I have to, of course, go to work today. Hectic work schedule. Just is. That's really the reason why I haven't been up here like that. I apologize for that. I got to work something out. This is my go-to. This is my peace in the middle of the storm. Just this. Hey, I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. Well, that's all for me today, and I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to listen and follow and show support on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. And as always, thank you for listening. My name is Stephen Carnegie for This Is Just a Thought. Amen.